2016, I called out for my husband, "Hey, babe! Hey, babe!" No response. Immediately, I knew something was amiss. I could feel it in my bones. And it didn't take me long to find him hiding in the back of our closet, fighting for his life, fighting against these thoughts that said, I need to take my life. And as I leaned against the closet door, I thought, well, this is a problem. And some of you might be thinking, how can this woman who claims to love this man recount this story with such little emotion? And the answer is, if you've lived in the suck for long enough, if you've been in a chronically traumatic environment for long enough, well, Pink Floyd got it right when they said, you become comfortably numb. And it was a hard day for me, but harder still for him, because this moment was 8 full years after he returned home from a 15-month deployment to Iraq, where he saw too much, experienced too much, watched friends get hurt and lose their lives, got in really hard firefights, and if I'm being honest, maybe took one too many IDs to the dome piece. And he tried everything in those intervening 8 years to be normal, to get back to baseline. He tried cognitive behavioral therapy, a lot of different kinds of medicines, exposure therapy, and even some experimental therapies. Nothing worked for him, and some things made it worse. I told you it didn't take me long to find him, and hot on my heels were a 5- and 7-year-old, eyes peering deep into the closet, wide with confusion and fear. You see, even in a house where we're really open about mental health, there's only so much you can do to assuage the fears of a 5- and 7-year-old. So we sat them down and we said, this isn't about you. This is not yours to receive. Please do not receive this. Your father loves you. He's just struggling. This is not yours. Don't take this on. And they looked up at us with their big blue eyes, threw their arms around their necks, and they gave us the kind of grace that only children can give. They said, we love you. We love you. Everything's going to be okay. We love you. And for a moment, it did feel like everything would be okay. But the truth is, we remained in the suck for another full year until one day, one simple sentence changed the trajectory of our lives. My husband sat across from me at the dinner table, and he said, my therapist said we should check out this surf therapy organization. Fantastic, amazing, I will sign us up. Well, no, I don't want to do that. Naturally, I signed us up. And I can tell you that on the way from our house to the beach, there was a lot of frustration, talk of divorce, and some spilt coffees. And when we got there, he hated everybody. He hated the founder and fellow combat veteran, Andy Manzi. He hated all of the veterans, who, by the way, are some of his best friends now. You see, where he was in his mental state, he just couldn't connect. He couldn't trust. And then something magical happened. The time that we got into that water, that first moment, there was this feeling of the water rushing between us and the boards. And it felt like being rinsed clean. It felt like renewal. It felt like hope. And my husband is incredibly athletic, frustratingly so. And of course, the first day, he popped up and he rode a wave. But it was 6 or more months before he learned how to ride down the line, do a bottom turn, all the stuff that makes surfing look cool and make a lot of you want to wear surf apparel. And in those intervening months, there became this inverse relationship with the number of times he got in the water and the number of times we found him in the closet. And you're probably thinking, this lady's crazy. There's got to be more to surfing than she's saying, because I don't believe that putting somebody on a surfboard and paddling around would make them want to quit killing themselves. And you're right. The ocean is medicine. We know from studies that when we get in the ocean, we sync up with its rhythm and flow. Our brains become more malleable and open to new learning opportunities. But for us, it was also an opportunity to work with skilled providers who were vulnerable and met us right where we were at. It was also an opportunity to learn about evolutionary psychology, positive psychology, and the ADAPT method developed by Dr. Maya Gill. And that gave my husband a set of really amazing, important skills. He learned how to align intent with action for his authentic self. He learned how to find direction. See, when trauma comes into our life, it doesn't matter if it's from war or childhood experiences, wherever it comes from, often it leads to the same outcomes: anxiety, depression, etc. And our values compass goes haywire. So he was taught how to identify areas of his life that were important, and he learned how to act on them, and this is critical, at a good enough level. Not up here, not down here, just good enough. He learned how to take a new approach, to actually see obstacles as opportunities, and that he might have an adaptive advantage and not realize it. The relics and artifacts from trauma, when rebalanced, they can actually be productive and give us an adaptive advantage. So for a man who was struggling with trust, who couldn't connect, who was hypervigilant, well, in a rebalanced state, that's actually a tool that, when necessary, can keep himself and his family safe. He got to do something else, too. He got to do yoga, a lot of it. And some of you are out here thinking, what in the heck does yoga have to do with surfing? Well, I'm here to tell you that the ocean is a powerful teacher, and she has little mercy for her students. If you are not fully present in the moment, you will get wrecked. And right after we check to make sure that you're still okay, we're going to laugh at you, because we've all been there before. Yoga is an opportunity to mirror the mindfulness that we learn out in the water, to take it to the mat and then back into our everyday lives. So for him, it became like muscle memory. The more he practiced mindfulness, the less he time traveled into a past that no longer was, and fortune told a future that didn't actually exist. Instead, as cheesy as it sounds, he began to see what a gift the present really is. And he got to do something cool. He got to fail. He got to fail in front of a community that was supportive. And he failed over and over and over again until those failures became successes. And those successes became mastery and drive and purpose. That is how surf therapy changed my husband's life, changed my life, changed my children's lives. The other day, he sat across from me on the couch and said, "I can't wait to wake up tomorrow." And I was like, holy shit. Can you imagine hearing those words from a man that I used to find in the closet? And I was concerned and worried that the next time I found him, he wouldn't be alive. Life-changing words. And that's what I'm really here to tell you. I'm here to tell you that if you've tried everything, if you feel like you can't go on, that you want to give up, that you can't stay on the surface and you're drowning, or you know someone who is, don't do it. Don't. I see you because I was you. I am you. Reach out. There are 135 surf therapy organizations in the world now. And yeah, you might have to travel. But I work with people who travel for this program all the time, and they'll tell you the same thing I am. It's worth it, because the next wave that washes over you, well, it might just be the one that changes your life. Thank you.